Hey guys, Ultra Prime 2 here. Welcome to the Fairy Tale Wiki podcast. It's been 2 weeks and we're back. I know you've missed us and we missed you too. With me here today is Kuro. Kuro, go for it.
Hello everyone! I am very excited to get into this week's chapter.
I'm sure you are. And also here is Wrath. Wrath, say hi.
Hi, I'm Wrath.
You are indeed. So, let's get on to Fairy Tale Chapter 396, the only chapter we'll be reviewing because there was a holiday. So, let's start with Kuro's opinion. Kuro, you can take the lead.
Okay, so, like I said, I really like this chapter, and I'm pretty sure at least most people who know me know why, but not for I don't think the reasons for it, are quite as exact. It's not just because of the scene in the second half. And I really like the chapter as a whole, and it's not just, in my opinion, it's retroactive because of that. I really enjoyed reading this from beginning to end. I mean, I read Rye's review and all the comments, and opinion seems to be pretty mixed on this chapter. But like at the start with the humor, I really liked it. I was laughing like when Juvia was muttering "love rival." This girl is unconscious and near death, but she's still able to know when she's her imagined relationship with Grace being threatened, and it's really great. And so there's it was a nice little casual opening, and then Torufusa, he stands back up. Like I said last week, he was only knocked back, he wasn't knocked out, and in this chapter, he's an absolute threat. He's a complete threat. The minute he gets his water up, he's well, as far as we can see, he's pretty unstoppable. We saw that earlier when he was able to cut down Aquarius. Like, her magic had no effect on him. So that was a nice little hint of what was to come, and now he's working towards a complete massacre. Fairy Tales, they're genuinely at risk of dying now. Even if Gajeel can, save them from drowning, there's still the issue of the poison. I mean, it's easy enough to say, oh, Wendy can heal them, but Wendy's on the other side of the country right now, and, they don't actually have I don't know how they're going to get rid of the poison. That's kind of what it comes down to. Even if by some twist of fate that Chelia turns up with the rest of Lemire Scale, because the guilds are getting involved, she can't heal other people. I don't know of any other healers. I can't, at least off the top of my head. And another reason I really like this fight, this chapter is, we're getting a legitimate one-on-one fight with Gajeel at the head of it. Ever since, he had his fight with Rogue during the Grand Magic Games, but I kind of feel like he hasn't really been treated that fairly ever since he was defeated, or, nearly defeated by a goat and a chicken on Sirius Island. I felt that was pretty bad on him, on his part. But, so that's the first half, and then the second half of the chapter is the Gale scene, the Gajeel Levy scene, which, I don't really know how to describe it, other than it, and this is just my personal opinion, but it was a beautiful scene. And I think what made it work so well was just the pacing of the chapter, because it just, for me personally, it flowed really well. We started with that, just a nice casual scene that, served as a transition from the last chapter. Events were tied together. There was that steady escalation of danger when Gajeel was getting driven into a corner, more and more. It wasn't just a one-sided battle, which Fairy Tail has had a few of so far. When one chapter is just one character wrecking shop, and then the next chapter is the protagonist winning. This was a legitimate, blow-for-blow battle. And, and I really enjoyed that, basically. I enjoyed the fight. And, sorry, brain just stopped. I didn't know how Gajeel was going to get out of it, really. Like, usually there's a good sign, this character will probably come in and save them, or they'll, pull out some ability that they haven't used so far. But when he was losing consciousness, he's used his Iron Shadow Slayer mode. Even though he was the only one conscious, he was still losing. And so, as he was losing consciousness and, he's losing his vision, I just didn't know what was going to happen. I was expecting something bullshit, to be honest. I felt like that was going to be where the chapter declined. But when he saw the lights, I thought, okay, is Sting going to turn up? Like, are we going to learn that Mardgear was defeated off screen, or maybe even Makarov, or some other light magic user? But no, the light wasn't a literal light approaching him. It was him returning to consciousness because Levy had arrived in time, and it wasn't a kiss. I'm going to come and say it wasn't a kiss. It was CPR. She was giving him air, but
she was giving him carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. That's also true, if it was to work properly. We won't go into the... I don't know. I'm not gonna argue science with that scene. But yeah, once that happened, everything came together. I now love the chapter title for what it represents, and what I love most about this scene is, I loved it because it wasn't a romantic scene. This wasn't the kind of thing that you could throw rose petals over. It's not going to make fans blush or fawn over. There was no confession.
No, they're already blushing and fawning and getting pretty happy.
Okay, I know. I know they're doing that, but that's when they interpret it as a kiss. Like this is my interpretation of it.
That's fair.
This wasn't a romance.
Okay, you won't do any of that stuff. Just the people obsessed with this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fair. What really did it for me was, relationships, and I am going to go into that, into that side of things, is, it's not all about, being romantic, it's not all about the lovey-dovey side of things. I'm not going to say that this chapter was like a confirmation of a relationship between these two that's been going on, behind the scenes, and this is it coming out of the closet. I'm not saying that. But what it did, what this single act showed was the level of dedication and faith that Levy has in Gajeel and her own inner strength to risk her own life to ensure that he gets a second chance. And I know this is probably just my interpretation of it, but I don't think she went into that moment thinking, okay, I'm going to give up my life so Gajeel can live on. I prefer to think it's more like, I have faith that you can actually win this fight and you'll be able to save me and the others if I do this. But, yeah, and then, he responds to this by, showing that he's not going to let her act of selflessness go to waste. And what she did had a real effect on him. Like Natsu, or most shonen characters really, I don't think he completely understands, feelings or, how two people can interact in that kind of way. So when these kinds of moments do come up, he doesn't know how to deal with it. Mashima could have gone straight from Torufusa charging at Levy to Gajeel protecting him, that would have been fine. But instead he took the time to, the bottom half of the page was Gajeel just looking at her, like, that split moment of, oh shit, you actually just did that, you are putting your life at risk, so, so I can do something about it. And that just goes to show just how much can be said about two people, or, anyone in general, by an action, no words were needed. This single action spoke magnitudes about these two characters. And like I said, this isn't a confirmation of a romance. At least I don't feel it's a confirmation of a romance. It isn't something that they've been doing in the entire time. This is just a genuine growth of the relationship between these two, platonic or otherwise. At least until Happy starts to rumor mill again, like Lucy in the last arc.
Mm-hmm.
That was, yeah, I just read that through on the last volume. It's like, oh, so I heard Natsu grab your breasts. Yeah, so that's my take on it. Like, it was a great scene, and yeah, sure, it's all in favor of this pairing of Gale, Gajeel and Levy, but it wasn't a romantic moment. It was just a moment of dedication between two people, and I feel that that's a far stronger bond than here I've got you flowers, or I took you out on this amazing date kind of thing. Oh, and I've also got a note here, just as an unrelated note. I think something needs to be said about Gajeel's use of shadow and iron magic, in that he can, this chapter showed that he can use them independently of one another without going into his merged form. Like, he was able to move as a shadow without entering his, that freakish metallic demon-eyed form, and then immediately come out and use a pure Iron Dragon Slayer technique. I don't know, that's, I don't want to start, debates about it, but that's just, something I felt was, noteworthy, because as far as, we've seen, he's the only one who can use those two magics separately, while Natsu and Future Rogue, they had to go into their merged form before they can use the second element. Yeah. So that's my take on the chapter. I'm gonna need a glass of water because my throat is so dry.
That's why I always recommend to us keep a few glasses nearby or something.
I do, but I've got a water bottle and I just want to get through it and get it done. I didn't want to take up too much time.
That's
so,
fair.
Yeah.
That's completely fair.
So, yeah.
Wrath, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I thought the chapter was pretty good. I woke up at like noon that day, and I just hopped on the wiki and saw there were a whole bunch of reviews. So then I just went on and read it, and I don't know, it was pretty good. I like that Gajeel is fighting with his head, like he's getting his butt kicked. There's no other way out of it. He's turning into a shadow because he's realized it's the only real way he can keep up in the water, since that's Torafu's specialty. It's just different because usually it's just to beat him up. Like, this character gets hit X amount of times, and then he hits back this amount of times, and then it's like Kuro said, it's a blow for blow battle, and it's really enjoyable to read those because it just puts it into perspective that, I don't know, maybe we don't know who's going to win. Maybe something's going to happen to change it. For all we know, the fight could get interrupted, and Gajeel's not going to win. But it's just this kind of like scenario that makes you actually look forward to what's going to happen next, instead of just saying, oh, he's going to lose, or oh, he's going to win, or oh, something's going to predictable is going to happen. Because honestly, I can't really fathom what's going to happen next. Well, probably because I'm really, really tired. But whatever. I actually did, like Kuro, enjoy the chapter from beginning to end. It was a little funny. I think it's actually even more funny how Lucy's trying to be the whole... She's not doing a very good job of it, but she's like being the silent voice of reason behind everything. like she's like, oh, you guys are stupid. Why are you doing this? Please stop. This is serious. We're gonna die. And then Juvia's muttering on the ground, love rival, and she's like, you need to stop too.
Yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah, he's like, you're dying. Yeah. Oh, and then the Tenchi Kaime. So, 5 minutes, poison water. Juvia's already poisoned and is going to die, and now she's swallowed poisonous water. So I wonder how that's going to play out. I
Honestly,
feel like because...
Honestly, I'm surprised they're not dead yet. Because, like, even Torafusa admits, yeah, you're probably going to drown before the poison gets to you. And...
Oh, yeah, it's like, 5 minutes of the poison takes effect. Not that any human could really hold their breath for 5 minutes anyway, and it's like, oh, wow, that's pretty grim.
And then Gajeel almost drowned. But, yeah. Gajeel was almost drowning, and he had far more air than the other two. Well, how many are there? There's like 4, I think?
Yeah, there's 4 in total.
Alright.
Yeah.
Him, Natsu,
5 now.
Lucy, and, what's her face? Juvia.
And now 5 with Levy.
Right.
I thought it was... I also thought it was kind of cute how he, like, pulled her out of the way first, and then just, like, hit him in the back of the head. It was pretty nice. It was cute.
Yeah.
Violently cute. A little scary because he turned into a complete fucking metal demon, but you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Very demonic.
So, with that said, I think it's a solid 8 out of 10.
Right. Kuro, do you have a rating?
Oh, right, I forgot to give a number. 9 out of 10. I do feel I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm not that shallow. Like, I do acknowledge some points of the chapter, were questionable. Like the whole, why is there poison if they're going to drown anyway? And I'm not going to get too much into the negatives, but yeah, 9 out of 10.
Oh yeah, one more thing. I also thought it was really funny how Tempest is just sitting there watching. He's just sitting at the bottom with his legs crossed. Like, oh, it's like that kind of look you see. It's like, oh, there's nothing good on TV today. I'm just going to sit here and pout.
Yeah.
Also, lions are known for their aquatic nature and their ability to breathe underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he has. He probably has gills hidden somewhere. We don't know. Those demons in their wily ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in Zen mode right now, like I'm meditating, and therefore I have control of my body.
He is the master of his own body.
Anyway, yes, Ultra, your opinion.
Yeah. I think it's a solid chapter. I mean, it's really nothing I would gush over, but I think it could have done a thing or two better, but I have no problem with it overall, majorly. I mean, I've already said I really don't give 2 shits about Juvia. Lucy was, like, whatever. She had, 3 lines in this chapter, and and it's nothing too different. She's just calling out her guildmates for the same stupid shit they always do, and they never change. So it's kind of okay. Well, why are you still surprised about all this? Shouldn't you already be aware of this? And then I do like his transformation. His transformation is fairly cool, I admit. So I'm pretty happy with that part. He turned so massive too. His fist was bigger than Gajiel's whole body. I mean, I don't know if that was a panel proportion thing, but damn, that was pretty impressive.
No, yeah, that was.
Well, to be fair, his hands were pretty big.
They were big
in base form.
That's true, but they weren't superhumanly big. They were just big for considering his general size. This guy, now his fist has to be like 6 feet wide.
Oh, Jesus.
He's what happens if the Hulk had a bastard child with Aquaman.
I was thinking, well, not Aquaman, more like Aquaman's half-fish cousin.
Half-fish cousin.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's what I was thinking. It's so Hulk-like, the way he's this giant, swimming, lumbering kappa beast that he's basically turned into. I really
looks
like
really
that.
familiar to me. I can't quite picture it, but his appearance actually does look familiar from something else. I can't pin it.
I don't know if it looks like anything that I've seen before. It just looks like a generic kind of demon, but I do think his power, it reminded me a lot of what Kisame did in Naruto when he fought Killer Bee, the whole water area thing, the kind of poisonous water. I mean, this water's poisonous, that water sucks your chakra out. So that's okay with me. But, I'm not too fixated on the whole similarity. I thought this was a pretty good fight overall. To be honest, though, I was thinking that Gajiel could have been a little more creative with the shadows. This is a dark water, and so ideally there should be a lot of shadows, right? So
no, shadows come from light. So the darker it is, the less shadows he's gonna have to use.
But shouldn't he be able to use the darkness itself?
No.
I don't think so, because Fairy Tail has established that darkness and shadows are two completely different things.
Established where?
The fact that there's darkness magic and shadow magic, and they're completely different.
And this isn't like Shikamaru's shadow techniques in Naruto. Like Shikamaru can utilize other shadows. As far as we can tell, the shadows from Rogue and Gajiel are solely produced from themselves.
Okay, that works. Okay, I hadn't really thought about that through. But anyways, if that's okay, well, actually that changes it a bit. But otherwise, I'm generally satisfied with the chapter. Unlike you, though, I mean, it's not a really big romantic thing. I mean, I've seen assloads of memes about how this is now a canon pairing, and all the fans can die happy because, their dreams came true and whatever. What?
I don't see how saving someone's life out of necessity makes everyone's dreams come true, but okay.
No, I just look at that shit on that anime Partisan or Tumblr, DeviantArt, Funny Mama, or wherever you guys like. I'm okay with that. Just let the fans be happy. It's at least intimacy. Well, okay, it's not intimacy. It's just connection. Screw it. It's lip locking between their favorites. I'm okay with that. I mean, I agree that it's not actually a romantic thing, but it's at least something they can enjoy. It looks like something. At least it's it's better than being caught with your pants down. That's for sure.
Been there, done that.
I'm not even gonna ask.
It was a messed up day. That's what it was.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. That's why I said it's not a romantic thing. Like, it's more of a progression. Like, they could go on afterwards, but right now, they aren't a couple.
To be honest, I think it's gonna be more like, oh, did you guys really do that? Oh, and then Gajiel's like, oh, shut up, I didn't do it by choice. I had to take it or whatever. And
well, this was kind of a private moment because everyone's unconscious, so only these two know of it. Unless Happy is legitimately flying around above.
No, I swear to God, somehow people are gonna find out. It's gonna be illogical, but somebody's gonna find out some way or the other. Or I don't know, Levy's gonna confess to someone, and that somebody doesn't have a seal on their lips.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel that Gajiel and Levy, if it is a pairing, Mishima's handling it pretty well, similar to Urza and Jalel.
I don't mind this pairing exactly. I mean, it's not my... Okay, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of any of the pairings, and to be honest, I think the start to this pairing, to be honest, kind of stunk. Because the way initiated, just like he beats the shit out of her and hangs her up to a
crucified
tree.
her.
Pretty much, he hangs her to a
Justification
tree.
on the first date, guys. It works.
And then like at the fight festival arc, she's like, I don't really care. And no, you're a girl. You're supposed to care. You're supposed to hate him. Okay, that's how it works. I just didn't feel that it was realistic that she didn't even care about what he did to her. I really don't.
I think it just speaks volumes of her character and that she can forgive him in that way. Like
but he's done nothing to earn the forgiveness. She doesn't even know him on a personal basis. He's trying
to change.
He didn't show any desire to change at that point, though. I mean, like later on, okay, I'll agree with that. But at that point, the Laxus scene came afterwards, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the thing. Like she's just not. I just thought, like, if, for example, she had been a little upset, and then he let Laxus beat the shit out of him, then defended her, then I would be okay with it, but it's like right from the start, she's just being way too timid. I mean, I know you can say that it's her character or whatever, but it just didn't seem right to me. I really thought she should have been a little more aggressive towards him at that point, and then slowly warmed up to him, because I think she was a little bit too soft and open at that point.
That's the thing, like, because, at what point in this entire series has Levy shown those kinds of aggressive feelings? Like this.
I think that would have been great character development if she had.
I think she was just too scared to be mad, to be honest with you. She was scared of him.
Yeah. And the whole thing about Fairy Tail, is they're a family, but they're also forgiving and very open to welcoming other people in. Like Laxus, Laxus tried to kill and massacre an entire city.
Yeah.
And he was let back in.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the problem with the series.
I know. Yeah. I can't.
How did the town feel about that?
They didn't even find out.
They never realized. It was just part of the spectacle.
Right.
They tried to pass it off as that.
It's just, I think it's more like it's. I don't think of it as a detriment. It's compassion and forgiveness. Where if it was like repeated actions, like okay, you've done this shit so many times, we've had enough. But it's just giving the person a second chance, and that's what Levy did. She's like, okay, you're the master has accepted you into the guild. I'm not exactly friends with you, but I'm willing to put the past behind me. And then he shows his his dedication to change with the Laxus fight, and that is when she actually acknowledges him, like, oh shit, you're not fighting back because you can't, it's because you won't. And from then it's just been like all these small scenes of them just building up to the friendship they have now, where Gajila's early on no one trusted him. They outright said why is he here?
Yeah,
we don't trust you.
I wish she'd been like that.
I don't know. I don't see it in Levy's character to be the kind to hold on to grudges. Like yeah, it was more like I just feel
that's a more generic human thing.
I know. It's just like I understand you were in a bad place. Because Phantom Lord was a bad place. He was surrounded by all these, creeps. And now that he's in a better environment. Yeah. But now that he's in a better environment, they have nurtured him as a character, and he's grown and he's changed, and now he's, he's a member of Fairy Tail. He is everything they stand for. So, I don't know.
Now I'm alright, but at that point I still don't agree with it. I still think it was too contrived. I think he forced the romance.
Yeah,
it definitely didn't have to end up the way it did. I'm not saying it shouldn't have. I'm just saying it didn't have to.
No, that's okay. I understand your side.
Yeah. Other than that, it's actually a fair chapter. I think, we're probably going to get something good. It's definitely better than last week's, and we actually got an ending for this chapter. Thank you. Because I think everyone agreed last week there was some kind of missing page issue that wasn't a missing page. It was just a complete lack of actual signals.
Yeah,
they just ended on a punchline.
Exactly.
Yeah, they took off. They forgot to put back on the next chapter part at the bottom of the page.
Did they actually?
Both of them.
Was there a message?
Actually, yes, there was. In the actual Raw, there was a message.
What was the message? Like, did they ever fix that mistake?
The next chapter, it said, to be continued in Fairy Tail 396 Air, and it wasn't on the bottom. It wasn't on the bottom of the page at all. It was like right under the speech bubble where the panel where Torafusa says, "Did I really just see that happen?" It was right there.
Oh, that's good. Damn it. I guess that's what happens when you rush for this stuff, isn't it?
I think it's funny how they both left it out. Like, they both forgot to put it back on. I don't know.
Okay. Other than that, I'll go solid 8 out of 10. Yeah. So we're done with that. Let's go with the chapter ratings, rather the rankings, because we're going back to the weekly Shonen reviews rankings. I'm stupid. So Kuro, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. I can just come out and say Fairy Tail was first. I don't know. I felt like I can't say this week a lot because all the chapters won't break, but last week's chapters, I don't know, it's hard because it's a very I feel very torn about with say with One Piece you have I really like the fight with the Nutcracker soldiers. I think they're a really cool concept. They look frightening. Usually I hate it when, author just throws up, here's a horde battle of all these characters you don't care about, they all look the same, fight to stall for time, but the Nutcrackers, they look interesting enough, and they play interesting enough where I'm like, I could totally sit down and watch a fight with, how to deal with these guys. It's not just a matter of knocking them over. But unfortunately that's not going to happen now, because Robin and Bartolomeo are there. And then there's the side where it's the dwarf princess, and I don't know. I don't care. That's what comes down to, like, okay, you're a dwarf princess. I thought we were just saving the workers at this factory, but apparently you're a thing as well, so I don't know. Bleach, I'm disappointed that Hitsugai is alive. Not because, I wanted him to die, just because Kubo isn't being consistent in how he presents the zombies. One second they're just, they look like they would have in life. Other times they have dark skin.
I feel like there's a different method. Like Giselle used a completely different method. Like there's the quick way, and then there's like a real proper way.
Well, that's the thing. She explained it. It's like, you have to kill the Quincy's first, but I can just splash my blood on Shinigami. That's what she outright said. That's the difference. And
I feel like there's something we're missing though, because he just looks completely different, and it's off-putting. Because I remember how excited you were. It's like, oh, he could actually be dead, and that's a thing.
Yeah, I was excited, but I don't want that excitement to be interpreted as like, I hate Hitsukiya's character. I don't hate him as a character. He's not a favorite, but I don't mind him. But I just feel like how it was presented could have been more clear. One of the things, I don't exactly remember him being this threatening in life. Like, he was never I don't know. For as strong as he has been, he's never been the go straight for the throat, cut down kind of guy.
I guess that's what lack of morals will do.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I guess I can.
Even when he was enraged in life, he never really went this far. He outright
he always
what?
He always like attacks from a distance and doesn't really go for things. He goes for like a really roundabout way to fight and tries to.
There was one time where he actually said to someone, "I'm going to violently kill you," and then he never did it. It dragged out for like 15 chapters.
Talking about Geen.
What?
Talking about Geen.
No, I don't think it was Geen. I think it was somebody else, wasn't it? Wasn't it one of the Arankar?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but one way or another, I know he said it.
But there's just the scale and power, like, we just saw him fight Bazby, so we know what his current level of ability is, because, he was brought to near death. And then in this chapter, with a flick of a wrist, he's able to summon this glacier that, dwarfs the surrounding architecture, which, that's a level, that he could only achieve with Bankai.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
He's even released his Shikai, if anything.
Yeah, the quantity is supposed to be extremely smaller compared to his Bankai, because his Bankai has all the same abilities, but the quantity is just extremely inflated.
I think they actually said that he's the one with the least power difference between the two at some point.
Yeah, he can use every ability between Shikai and Bankai. It's just that the power level and the quantity of ice he can produce is different.
That makes sense.
I also, more torn feelings. I'm kind of sad that Ikaku and Yumishika, they've already been taken out for the second time in this arc without doing anything, really. Ikaku, and the fact that, Yumishika and Ikaku are two characters that are supposed to be, near captain level, like, even, they shouldn't be just a curb stomp opponent for Hitsugai. They should still be able to fight him. I mean, I guess they were taken by surprise, so that could be spoken of, like, why Ikaku didn't go Bankai. I don't know, we still haven't seen his feelings on, like, whether he's going to use it or not. We do know it's weaker now, but it's still going to be a power boost, even if it's a small power boost. But I did so I liked how Yumishika was taken out. because he was taken out as he was releasing his Shikai, which is his true Shikai, Rurio Kujaku. And I really like that because, one, it shows that, he is actually willing to use his true Shikai if it's for the life of his comrade. And two, again, this is probably just my interpretation of it, but the fact that we were shown him about to release it and then being taken down is kind of Kubo's way of saying, yeah, I'm acknowledging that his Shikai is overpowered and could have probably win him the fight, but it's only if he can actually get it out in the first place. So if he's taken out before he can get... Because it is kind of, I feel like it's one of those Zanpakuto that can just be, if he can get his opponent ensnared, that's the end game. It's just a matter of draining him.
Yeah, it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of planning. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason it worked before is because it was by surprise. I mean, we all were taken by surprise, like, oh shit, is this his Bankai? Even the character was like, is this your Bankai? Nah, this is just, I have issues. Yeah, so now, Mayuri can come in and fight, do his whole experimentation thing.
I also like that he's more open. He's also more open with his Kido, just in general.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought when he did that cage to protect Charlotte. I was like, is that Kido, or is that your own invention? Because we know he's meant to be really proficient at Kido. Like, I know Kubo has, gone out of his way to say, yeah, this guy's probably the most proficient of the captains. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm excited for what comes next, but as for this chapter, I'll just go straight into rankings. Fairy Tail was 1. Naruto, I feel like we should acknowledge Naruto because there was a lot of debate about that.
Mm-hmm.
But we can do that after the rankings. Fairy Tail first, Naruto second for me. One Piece third, and Bleach fourth. Bleach, it wasn't bad. It just, nothing much happened.
Yeah, I don't think anything was really bad.
Yeah.
No.
It was just like it was like comparatively bad.
Yeah. That's it. That's my rankings. Do you guys wanna?
Raph, you can go next.
All right. Well, let's see. I don't know. I liked Fairy Tail the most, so that's a 1 for me. I remember you guys actually reminding me what happened in One Piece, but it's still a gigantic blank in my head. I don't remember ever reading it, and even though I know I did. I don't know. Naruto was okay. I don't know. I actually kind of did just like Bleach. I really did like it. It was just maybe not because of the chapter itself, but because of what it'll present in the future.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. So this is hard.
I don't know, just based on what you've said,
One Piece.
Sounds like...
I don't know. It's like I also really did like Naruto, even though it was a little kind of not really like it, but I did enjoy it, even though it was a little weird.
I feel like I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get questions on that, but I feel like it is. What happened is something we should address.
Yeah, there's a couple like discrepancies and things.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think there's any discrepancies.
Well, I just don't. It's
kind of one of those discrepancies where you can acknowledge it or you can just ignore it.
Yeah, it's like,
It's like, no, I don't want to think about this. Let's just move on.
Yeah, that's really the only one I can think of off the top of my head. That one, but let's see. So Fairy Tail 1, Bleach 2nd. Oh man, they're all really good.
What the fuck was that?
I think I got a text message from my girlfriend. I told her not to text me.
I didn't know you had a girlfriend. Congratulations.
I have a new girlfriend, and that's whose house I've been at the last few days. And then also, yeah, and that also is part of that story about getting caught with my pants down. That's
okay. That's
a story apparently.
I didn't ask, but thanks for the information.
You're welcome. Okay. So Fairy Tail 1, Bleach 2, One Piece 3, Naruto 4. Okay, I'm done.
Right, okay. I think I have the same rankings as Kuro. Fairy Tail number 1, Naruto number 2, Bleach number 3, and One Piece number 4. Was that where you had, Kuro?
I think I had One Piece and Bleach switched.
Oh, okay.
But like we said before, it's just splitting hairs, really. Like, they're all honestly, decent in their own ways.
Yeah, exactly. One Piece, just because there was nothing really exceptional about it. I like that Kakashi...
I like the ending, though.
The ending was just kind of like a build-up, but I mean, I don't care about Rebecca. I really don't. She's the granddaughter of the king, but it's like, okay, you're kind of boring.
I feel like her fight with Diamante is like going to be the make it or break it moment. Like, this is a chance for you to develop, because as you are now, just no. But if you actually, come out and become an individual, sure.
To be honest, though, I can't really imagine her winning. Like, I know in the end, it'll be some kind of moral victory at the very least, but simultaneously, this guy is one of Doflamingo's generals. She can barely, hold her own against a lot of these tournament people. I think he's going to kick her ass, to be honest.
See, that's the thing. I don't imagine her winning, but you don't have to win to go through character development.
Yeah, that's what I meant by moral victory. It'll be something along the lines of that. I like Kakashi's new Susanoo in Naruto.
It's got his scar on it.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool, and I like the design, but it's simultaneously... okay, we didn't see it overall, but I do think it's a little similar to Madara's, but maybe, they'll show us a little more next week when we get the next chapter. Just other than that, it's not bad, and, Bleach was... to be honest, I'm not all that interested in Bleach, but it's at least, at least something's going on.
Yeah. I remember someone mentioning they wanted Kakashi Susanoo to be silver, and I was like, that would be a really cool idea.
That would be
shaded,
cool, and it's
shaded darkly, so
exactly
it's a beat those in the end of the day. So
true.
Oh yeah. Also, to be fair, Itachi's was shaded kind of dark, and it ended up being like gold, like yellow.
No, it's like orangey, orangey red. Like it looks like pure. It's the color of fire.
Yeah.
But this, you don't go from silver to dark.
I don't think it can be, but it's just because Kakashi, he isn't an actual Uchiha, but then, the colors are generally pretty cool. I like the color scheme of Madara's the most. Sasuke's is alright, I guess. But
I just really like purple.
Kishimoto just really likes purple. Have you guys seen, was it Itachi's best friend? What was his name? Shunsui or something?
Shisui Uchiha.
Yeah, have you guys seen his Susanoo?
Was that shown in a flashback?
It wasn't a flashback. It's an original design for the latest, the upcoming Naruto Storm game. And,
I have not seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
It's basically, it looks similar to Itachi's, like, most Susanoos, but it's green, it has a shield, and it has, like, a drill-like, lance. And I'll show you guys a
actually sounds kind of cool.
It looks cool.
That reminded me of Power Rangers, to be honest.
Power Rangers. I'll show you guys a picture after the podcast.
That's no problem.
It looks good.
So Fairy Tail, Naruto, Bleach, and then One Piece. And that's the end of our weekly rankings, people. Join us in the next video for questions that you guys send via email. Goodbye.